Oh, Thomas Sowell is Thomas Sowell is the blueprint for this shit. I cannot wait to get to a video where I can talking about Thomas Sowell. Oh my God, Thomas Sowell. Oh my God, I'm so tired of hearing. I'm so tired. Thomas Sowell. All this conservative black people shit is the same argument. If it's like I'm gonna talk about it in the Black Manosphere video, but and if you watch watch my little Julesy video. The two Julesy videos I did on this B-Sides channel. All these black now Gen Xers, boomers, and some of the millennials that are on this conservative shit are coming with the same argument. If black people just got their act together, there wouldn't be any more racism. We would have all the things we need. And that's not true. And that's been so clear. That's been clear. That's so well researched. That's so well documented historically. Like, first and foremost, black people built communities in the image of Americana, in the image of capitalism. Black people built communities where they had shops and they had banks and they had all the things. They had all the things they're supposed to have. Picked themselves up from their bootstraps. Historically, for over a century. And all across America. And what happened? White terrorism burned that shit down every time. Every time. And it's not just Tulsa. Like if you go and you research black race riots, every time, like literally, if not 100%, a huge percentage of black wealthy communities over 100-year period plus were burned and bombed by white terrorist mobs. That's number one to that whole bootstraps bullshit. Literally burned to the ground. So that's number one. So that happens consistently till about the 60s. Finally, like the reason why Atlanta has money, if you look at the history of Atlanta, people be like, yo, Atlanta got money, like go to Atlanta. Like people think of Atlanta, they think of black money, which is true. There's a lot of black money here and it's black old money. The reason why Atlanta is so unique in America is because Atlanta was such a valuable, what's the word I'm looking for? Trade post for the entire country because it had all these railroads that went through the entire nation that crossed in Atlanta, right? So the Union armies stayed in Atlanta for an extra like 30 years. And when the Union armies were there, guess what couldn't happen? White conservative mobs couldn't so easily blow up black commerce. They couldn't. And because of that, over time, black wealth was able to build up in Atlanta. Now, there's still all other issues because like somebody said in the chat, we're not going to LLC ourselves to liberation. So if you come to Atlanta, you'll see a lot of black money and it's still niggas in the hood. It's still, the police still shot a dude and didn't go to jail. And we got money in Atlanta. Fucking off track. How did I get here? Woo, got me heated with that. It's fucking Thomas Sowell. So let me just finish this, and then I'm gonna run after this. So number one is black folks have been picking themselves up by their bootstraps for generations, for literally centuries in this country, and for 150 plus years, they would just burn the shit down, like literally. That's number one. Then for those communities that weren't burned down, you go back to another video on the B-Sides channel with Bellamy Rhea, where we talk about what the fuck is this dude's name? Robert Moses. Right? And this is where we start getting into systemic racism. So after they burn shit down, they couldn't do that too much for a while, right? They couldn't just go and bomb and kill everybody. Starting in the 50s and 60s and 70s, you had people like Robert Moses and city planners that everywhere where black communities were starting to burgeon and have money and have success, they literally tore those communities down and built highways through them, destroying the foundation of black wealth in these cities. Systemically, unlike your boy Jordan Peterson, who I was going to talk about, but fuck Jordan Peterson. And that's well documented. And then you start talking about redlining and the prison industrial complex and all this other shit. And don't get me wrong, especially when black folks from the worst communities start talking about their struggle, and they want to talk about the pain within community, the black on black crime, the things that happen to black people from black people in black communities, I don't poo-poo that at all. I don't poo-poo that, and I don't like, should we talk about systemic racism as the core factor? Definitely. But when people want to speak to their hurt, I hate when black bourgeoisie people who've never actually experienced poverty but read about it in a book want to tell folks that's really from the struggle to shut up. Don't do that. But the worst thing is the Candace Owenses and Thomas Sowells and all these other motherfuckers who will say shit like, when the black community in the 1950s, the black economy was doing so well, and then after we got welfare and we aligned with the government, shit. And it's like, no, you can look at the shit. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. So fuck Thomas Sowell. Who Kevin Samuels loved, by the way. Kevin Samuels loved him some Thomas Sowell, because them going on Fox News and repeating that bullshit for generations is one of the big reasons why we have so many issues with mobilizing black political power in this country now. Because the first thing you have to do to mobilize black political power is to convince black people that we not gonna pull our pants up out of this problem. All right, so Prim just did a video. Prim is comedy, so like, don't pull Prim in the left tube, y'all. Don't go over to Prim's channel left tubing with that nigga. Let that dude do what he's doing. This is good comedy. But he did a video on this movie called Lean on Me. I don't remember when this came out. It had to be like the late 80s. And it was based on the true story of the dude with the bat named Joe Clark. Joe Clark was a principal in some rough city, and he went into this city and went to this school and just did some real strong disciplinarian shit. Kicked all the bad kids out of school, just did a whole bunch of shit that if you're from that era, you think that's what we needed. You think we needed tough love. That's what made a Kevin Samuels resonate with so many people, because a lot of black folks, we got so much trauma that we ain't processed, that you get a nigga up here calling you all kinds of names, telling you you ain't shit, telling you can't be good at life because you don't have a father, and you think that's what you need to hear to get better, and that's not. And so Joe Clark went in there with that energy. He had 1 or 2 successful years and then got fired, because you can't fix a systemic issue with extreme discipline. You just can't do it. So they made a movie out of him, and I remember watching the movie as like a 9-year-old, and it horrified me. It traumatized me to watch this movie, because the first 5 minutes of this movie, the first 5 minutes of this movie is the most like low-key racist shit you'll ever see. Somebody said, you smoke crack, don't you? Like, yeah. Cause like the movie made the kids look like super predators. Why does he have a bat? Because that was his nickname. He carried a bat around school in case he had to like hit motherfuckers. And of course, yes, the movie was written by a white guy. And so like this movie, they showed this movie to us as when I was a kid so much. Yeah, it started with welcome. Shit, I even missed that. The movie started with the song Welcome to the Jungle. And it's basically a montage of black kids being violent in like a crazed way. Yar Zaid just dropped a video about it as well. And so, but it's not just the movie. What I want to point out is that, I'm 40. When I was a kid, I swear I saw this movie every year from like 3rd grade to I graduated high school. They showed us this movie every year. And this movie was so traumatizing, because it's like, yo, this is not helping. This not helping us. But they thought that's what it would do. When we talk about the crime, just go and watch some videos with Julesy on the side channel, y'all, for real. Go and watch those 2 videos I did with Julesy on the side channel, because it goes through a lot of this shit. But all this to say, fuck Thomas Sowell. and the bootstrap rhetoric politics, because it's not true. It doesn't work. It's never worked. You know, we had a whole fucking black president and they still made chicken and watermelon jokes at this nigga. Like, if there ain't nothing to say, then just talk about that. We had a whole Harvard educated black president with a black wife, beautiful kids, did all the things, and they still made chicken and watermelon jokes about this nigga while he was in office. You see what I'm saying? So, like, miss me with the bootstrap rhetoric.